Welcome to Bottom Line Sports Talk. I'm George Abraham. You know my partner, Albert Cameron. Albert, tough day for the Penguins, 38-31 at Missouri State, and losses are piling up.
Good way to say it, George, and especially when you get to the league and all you need is a defensive stop, and they can't get it. 9 guys leaving their defense in the offseason. They just could not replace them all. The portal played their part in that big time.
The other way, we always talk about
Good way, George.
people saying, oh, they got the quarterback from fill in the blank. Well, it goes the other way.
Yeah, he couldn't say it any better. There's too many. When 9 leave, that's too many to build a defense. Offense scores 31 points. You should be good enough to win the game, but in the final seconds, they drive the field and win the game. 21 for 29 in the game for South Missouri State. 325 yards. You can't win giving up 38 points. The Penguins fall to 1-4, George. 0-1 in the conference. I think they're in big trouble with the schedule they got coming.
Yeah, we know it's. If North Dakota State's third or fourth best, then
exactly.
Hey, here's the thing that I pull out of this. I didn't see the game. When I can, I try to catch them on Plus or whatever. But here's what I caught: 5 plays, 53 yards. Why'd they start in the 47?
I know.
That you've
like
given.
Know what happened.
When they start at the 47, they need 20 yards for a field goal.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that puts them in a different mode.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, short field late in the game really becomes four down territory.
Yeah,
game's called differently. Yeah, no question about that. Brungard had another excellent game, 18 for 31, 110 yards rushing. We watched him in high school. We thought he'd be a good one.
He was on here plenty of
times.
Many times.
Yeah, many times.
Ursuline.
Yeah, Ursuline. I know how good they are now because Fitch came in undefeated.
Yeah, that's what I said.
35-0 drubbing. I am going to call somebody as you're watching this show. I want to find out who beat Ursuline because I got to admit I don't know. And they're 5-1 on the year. I saw them drub Farrell. They drubbed Austin Fitch. I want to find who. Had to be one of those big-time schools that beat them, George.
Yeah. We know they're good, but
yes.
This tells you when you beat an undefeated team like that.
D.C. Farrell passes to Devontae Taylor, gave him a 14-0 lead, and they never looked back. West Branch remained undefeated with a simply easy game, 57-0 at halftime it was. As George likes to say, who got better in that game?
I know Minerva didn't.
Yeah, so Jeremiah Thomas threw 8 passes, 5 of them were touchdowns. George, it's like a midget game.
Yeah, let's say this, too. I'm going to give the coach credit, and I wasn't there. Tony scored 7 in the second half.
So it can be done.
Yeah.
These coaches.
Coach Narduzzi. Do you hear that? It was 57-0 at half. And they did what they're supposed to do.
He didn't make it personal.
He did not make it personal from 52 years ago. No, he did not make it personal.
Yes.
That's a good point because look at what this score could have been it could have been literally 100.
Yeah, I know. If I'm a nervous coach, and I've been there before, by the way, you go over and shake the person's hand and say, appreciate what you did for us. I coach from Minerva. That's what he should have been saying to West Branch coach.
No, without a doubt.
Appreciate what you did.
Because that had the making of one of those ones that gets in.
The USA,
you don't want to be in there. And you know what? I don't want to do that.
Nobody wants to do it. If you have any pride in yourself and humility, you hear that, Doozer. Volleyball. Borman moved ahead of Warren Harding 25-15, 25-15, 25-7. But the big thing in that game was Ava Commons. Major milestone for the Spartans, 1,000 career assist, 20 assists in that tournament, in that on the night, George.
Yeah, just putting that ball up there, and those big girls are banging that thing down. I'll tell you, that game is fast, and that game is vicious because that net is 8 inches shorter than the boys,
right.
And it makes all the difference in the world.
We like to bring up the setters on our show because most times the big hitters get all the recognition. And George and I both like volleyball.
Yes.
And we know how valuable the diggers and the setters are in that game. McDonald moves to their best start in school's history at 14-0 on the year after a 3-0 win over Springfield. Don't get too cocky, McDonald. You know that. Just keep taking game in, game out. Do the best you can. But I know the coach is flying high, 14-0 on a start, George.
Yeah. Like the Pitt women, they haven't given up a game yet.
Think about that.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
So and I noticed too, just to tell you how good the volleyball is on a national level, I looked up Pitt and Penn State because they're two of the top teams in the country. One girl from Pennsylvania on both squads. So now you know how good you have to be.
Yeah. For your parents, we say it all the time. We didn't say your kid wasn't good. But there's somebody in California that's better. There's somebody in Texas that's better. Hate to tell you that. And it's proof of the pudding. Penn State and Pitt with one Pennsylvania player on the team.
And she's a girl from State College. That
Right
could easily have been, maybe her parents or something. She goes to school for nothing. So she doesn't
We're not
cost
sure
you a
how good a player
scholarship.
she is, right?
Exactly. I don't say she isn't. I
She
just
might
noticed
think, yeah.
one was from State College.
In golf news, Mick Ambrose broke the school record at Canfield, shooting 7 under. That's an unbelievable round.
Oh, boy.
At 65. The previous Canfield record was 68, was more than 30 years ago in 1993 by Scott Porter. You guys who follow Canfield golf, you'll remember Scott well, I guarantee you. Well, Mick just went into the record book with a 65.
shots.
Yes.
Holy man.
What a round.
Well done.
So we covered all the sports today. Anybody has anything to cover as ADs, we love you to send into our show. Greg would love to give us a piece of paper before we come out here and say, hey, the AD at this place really cares about his school. Thank you for, in the past, George, we've had some good ADs.
It's been a while.
Come through.
It's been a while.
That's right. It hasn't been a long time.
To be blunt,
It's been a long time.
I would be, if it were my job and I didn't have 5 minutes to send you off something, when somebody did something well, I'd be disappointed in myself.
There should be a list in front of us things that
Here's what you missed, guys.
I got to send to these 10 places.
Yeah, here's what you missed.
That's exactly right.
And it's ironic, too. We have a TV show in PA, and there's one full-time guy north of Slippery Rock, and it's the guy that says he doesn't have time. All the others are, they're teaching science. I get that.
Right.
They don't have all day.
Right.
There's one north of Slippery Rock that is full-time, and he's the only guy that says he doesn't have any time to send it.
That means you don't care enough. That's my definition.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
not
that's
have
we're
time.
wrong. I'd like to
Wake up 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah, I'd like to explain.
And
Imagine if it was your
send it
son
out.
there.
Yes.
It could be your son or your
right.
daughter not getting any of the accolades. All right, let's talk about the NCAA football. We had a classic, not at halftime.
Oh, my.
Halftime, it looked like, who stole Georgia's uniform? But something happened at halftime, and they came storming back. Next thing I know, they're ahead.
Yeah, what's interesting is I thought Georgia would score some points, but Alabama quit scoring completely. That's the Georgia defense just took over, and then didn't they give up a long pass? The guy had decent coverage.
Let's talk about how about that kid? He's 17. Did you hear about him?
I know, he's
he
17.
reclassified.
He's 17.
He reclassified. Now think about this. He should be a senior in high school. He reclassified. And on that last play, he did a little reverse spin, okey doke.
Yeah.
And there you go. But the truth of the matter is, they came back and they took an INT by Bama to clinch it.
Yeah, that's the Williams kid who everybody read about coming out, and him and the Smith kid from Ohio State are two of this classic split.
Well, they play
receivers.
again just that. I mean,
Good chance, don't you think?
But I don't think in the title game, because I think with teams like they have to play Texas, they have to play
still a lot
at
of good
Tennessee
teams.
and Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
I think Texas. See, the thing they do that I think will give Georgia trouble, they throw the ball. And obviously, hey, it was a funny story. DeBoer, you've seen his record against it's
everywhere.
It's
He's been
incredible, and but he's undefeated against Oregon, whoever
All
the
the
three
big-timers,
big boys. So Saban's in the locker room after the game, and you know how guys are after the game. Everybody's just
euphoric.
Yeah. And Saban goes in. He says, "You had an advantage." And they said, "What was that?" He said, "They were tired of my rear end." He knew what the taskmaster he was. But anyhow, it appears that, if anything, Milroe looks a little sharper.
Yeah, he did. He looked pretty darn good that
He
night.
could win the Heisman off that performance. Now, we know Texas is rolling. Manning steps in for 2 games, and Ewers will be back for the big boys. But you're not stepping down too far.
No, they're both big timers, and that's interesting how money keeps you happy because they both want to play. And those are just the SEC. It's SEC team football.
Yeah.
And they have just great teams.
You know, I heard the coach of Kentucky, the local boy, Stoops, was talking, and he was saying, you don't realize till you're in the league how rough it is. You know, he had Georgia 1 point right to the buzzer. Stubbed his toe bad earlier against South Carolina, then he comes back and he beats Ole Miss on the road.
But don't go past that one game and thinking, wait a minute, they just almost beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Did beat Mississippi. And South Carolina.
Road raged them. I watched the game.
Whooped them. Do you understand? That's the SEC. If you're not ready to go that day,
Yeah.
you're getting beat.
And he's glad he's off this week because he has Vanderbilt. And he knows,
they're better too.
whoa, hey, Penn State beat Illinois. That's one of the better Illinois teams I've seen offensively. The Penn State D is pretty good.
Yeah, that's their strength.
Did you come away with that?
That's always been their strength. I don't think they're as strong as the other teams offensively.
No.
They're very strong defensively. Yes.
No, they are.
Yeah.
They're tough at home too. That whiteout routine. I've watched some of their promo videos where they start playing that music and they come out with their
Right.
and all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm thinking, what are these 150 recruits doing that are
That's
sitting
why
there?
they get 'em.
Sign me up.
That's why they
Where
get
do
'em.
I sign the
Yeah, that's
paper?
why
And
they get 'em.
Ohio State, Michigan, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Southern Cal. Looked at halftime and said, I knew it. Yeah, same old soft. Southern Cal came out the second half, and Wisconsin didn't score again.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was it 28-0 or something after half?
Southern Cal's defense stepped up, which they usually don't. But Wisconsin's not that strong of a team. It
No,
isn't
they're
like
not.
that.
No.
So that's how bad Southern Cal
Alabama, I remember,
played early.
after the game, after the Alabama game, the Wisconsin coach, we know him from, he filled in at Ohio State one year. He was at Cincinnati Fickle. By the way, he started there as a freshman, so I don't think I'd...
Pretty good.
Yeah. And he said they said, what'd you say after the Alabama game? He said, I went into my players and I said, if you've never had your rear end kicked, you just did.
Yeah.
He said, it's that simple.
That's the way it
Where
is.
do they beat them? They beat them on a line.
Every time, that's their big time recruits, the linemen. That's who the top teams get first. Then they go get the other people.
Ohio State just rolling. I can't wait till they play Oregon so we know. I think they're going to, myself, in the old days, I would have been all over Oregon.
Right.
Today, if you force me, I'm taking the Buckeyes.
Well, they played better.
Yes, they have.
They have so
but
far,
you know
yes.
that night, that'll be a little
Different story on that night. That's right.
That's goosebump territory
Yeah, it
there.
is.
Now, one thing I do know, I don't know a lot, but let's say you ever commit some kind of crime and you're going in front of a firing squad. I think they still have it in Utah. You want this Michigan quarterback shooting at you because you have a good chance to walk away
Oh,
from
yeah,
it.
he's a runner all the way.
Now, I understand. See, I don't get it. I'm going to say it again. How can a place where money's no object, 100,000 fans every game, how can that quarterback be? Now, I understand they're not all Sonny Jurgensen.
Right.
But this guy, come
But he
on,
can't
Al.
throw.
Come on, Al.
Yeah, he can't throw.
Put 9 up there and force them.
But they try to. They do. Michigan still runs it down
And
their throat.
I didn't say they couldn't run.
Yeah.
I drew the line.
They
It
tried
looked
to.
really good. I watched the game because I was curious. I had said to you during the radio show, I'm interested. UNLV.
I know they're undefeated.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. You know that one spot that they goes to the non-power 5?
Right.
They're right in front of
They
the
can
line.
beat Boise
That's the key.
because Boise's
Because that
really
kid
good.
can run.
Because
Jeez.
Boise's really
How
good.
about that running back for Boise?
Yeah, if he was a big-time school, he'd have a chance for the Heisman.
Yeah, I'm not
He
sure
has
he
no
shouldn't.
chance.
I know. I'm not sure he shouldn't because of the way he plays. But
Right.
you have a good point there. Utah, that was the
You
one.
didn't tell me that one, and I didn't know it until I just read it.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell
Just
you.
knocked us out.
Let me tell you. What do we have? 9 wins. We got a chance.
No, we don't.
You
No,
think
we
it
don't
was-
have a quarterback coming back. No quarterback comes back.
Hey, let me tell you what they did. They did something that
They
made.
can't score.
Yeah, but they made you mad. They were inside the 10 3 times first quarter.
I know, but the quarterback would get a touchdown.
And he didn't kick either. That's the other thing. He finally, at
They
the
don't
third time,
They don't kick.
he took the points. I'm like, hey, buddy, you could have 9 right now, and that
They
would.
don't kick.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I talked to George about it yesterday.
Yeah.
It used to be just the new school.
Oh, by the way,
athletics. Now it's everybody.
the Stoops was talking about that because they asked him why he didn't punt. He punted against Georgia, but didn't punt against Mississippi. He said, in case you don't know, he said, I have an analytics guy in my ear at all times, but sometimes it's feel.
But they don't use it.
Well, he does.
I'm glad.
Sometimes,
Sometimes
well, that day it was 4th and 1 or 2 at the 49. He punted against.
That's why I
Georgia.
know he doesn't use it.
Well, no, because he said sometimes it's Phil. That's what I'm telling you. He did. He didn't go
Well,
by
I thought that'd be
analytics.
the time to go for it.
That's what I think.
Because it's Georgia. Now, if you're
Yeah.
playing,
Yep.
you have a chance to
Okay.
put Georgia away.
He went the other way and said yards were so tough to come by. Blah, blah,
It's
blah.
Georgia.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It was
what I'm
very
thinking.
interesting because he's got a guy in his ear, and I thought they would.
Every team does.
Now, Notre Dame.
Remember, Seuss is a 25-year-old.
Oh, yeah. He's been
25-year
there forever. Oh, yeah.
They still use analytics.
Notre
yeah.
Dame beat a good Louisville team. That's a good win for Notre Dame. They factor out with all the top teams in the country because of the lack of quality of opponents. You know how they do. They have 32% chance
Right.
to win, blah. They have the highest rate going to the end because they won't be a dog at Southern Cal, but they'll be a small favorite.
Right.
They played the 3 academies, a couple other teams that now remember, I'm going to say this because I know they lost to Marshall. They should win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell me. How about Northern Illinois? They lost them both.
Yeah, no, we'll win. Yeah, I know.
I won't say will.
Yeah.
No, I
The Navy and
know.
Army are both undefeated. It's
No,
like because they're just stepping on the field.
No, I've watched
because they
them.
always play.
Yeah, I've watched
They
them
play.
both play. Colorado, that was a big win at the Bounce House. I'm
Yeah.
not a Dion fan, but
Yeah, hell, what do
I'll
you
give
mean?
him credit for that.
No, they whooped them.
They
That was a
whooped
great win.
Huge win.
Yeah.
By the way, we're at the quarter pole.
Yeah, let's see how fast it goes.
And really, if you played 4 games, we're a little bit past that.
Yeah.
Now, there's only one question for this 12-team field, and we know what it is. How many teams will the SEC and the Big Ten get in? Because we know 3 of them in both would probably whip any of the others.
I'll say 3 in the Big Ten.
3?
3.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. I'll say Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State. That's what,
Sounds good to me.
That's the 3 I would
Sounds
take.
good to me.
And if you'd asked me last week, I would have said 4 for sure in the SEC.
How about Texas?
But I'm not saying 4 for sure anymore now.
Texas, you leaving Texas out of the SEC, or did you forget they were in there?
I didn't talk about the SEC yet.
Oh, okay. You're
I'm
going
talking-
3 Big Ten.
I said 3 Big Ten.
Okay.
I said I would have said 4 for sure, but I can't give Georgia and Mississippi short places now. They both lose another game.
Okay.
I think they could be out.
Okay, so you're going to say basically Texas, Alabama, and if they
Georgia
win
and
out,
Mississippi. That's what I thought.
Georgia, Mississippi.
Yeah, but they both could lose.
Okay, now that would be right there. That would be 6 or 7, and you have
That's
the
7, I'm
others.
saying.
The other 3 automatics are 10. The one to the non-power is 11. You got 1. That would be
That's
would be
what I
bad.
thought. That's what I
and you
thought.
know, right now, you know, someone's going to say, "Well, we could beat them." Well, that would have happened when you had 4, right? It's as
Yeah.
simply as that. So that's what we're getting into. Now let's talk about the NFL, the night game, Sunday night. You and I both have King Henry over his touchdowns. Is there a better thing to see the opening play? He goes 80 plus, and buddy, they don't want to get in the
Remember
way.
how big he is, and he still runs away
How
from
about how
him.
fast he is?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a key.
I think he's a 4.45.
And what's interesting, Baltimore has 2 losses.
Yeah.
See, it's the NFL, and I tell George all the time.
No, don't go
Not
by
for
that.
long.
His favorite line is,
They were right that night.
don't go by last
That
week.
was not a surprise that Buffalo came in undefeated. And Baltimore's going to beat them. That wasn't a surprise to me
No,
at
I
all.
didn't. That's one game that I did see.
Yeah,
that
that's not a
looked-
surprise.
No, not at all. It's just
It's the NFL.
Yeah. Eagles handled again by Tampa.
That's not a surprise. No.
They say, no, wait a minute. Here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Hurts and Sirianni don't speak.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but you cannot win in the NFL when Brown and
No, we're not.
Smith are out.
No.
You're talking 2 All-Pros
Yeah.
out of the game. You can't.
No.
There's not a chance to win. I mean,
Well,
I
he
think-
lasts the season.
I don't think he will.
I say no.
I don't think he
How
will
about the
either.
guy at Jacksonville? Is he week to week?
I don't know. I think he'll last. I think
Really?
because he has that Super Bowl under his belt.
Okay, but it wasn't there. Don't forget.
No, I know that.
Don't forget it wasn't there. They are online on Twitter trolls and all. They want Kellen Moore's rear end.
Why do you want him for?
They're blaming him. He's a new guy. He's easy to
know,
blame.
That's why. This is blame a coach.
How about Barkley? He had 3 carries the first half. And they said to Sirianni, he said, we only had the ball 9 plays. He goes, how many do you want him to have?
It's 1/3 of it.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Normally I would have been critical of him. But when
Yeah.
you only have the ball 9 plays, what are you supposed to do with it?
Yeah, that's what happened too. Tampa just whooped them.
Yeah, that was that simple. They were good last year. Pittsburgh loses to Indy. Joe Flacco, here's a mistake everybody makes. You and I don't.
Well, you definitely don't.
They go, listen, people, and it's not personal. I watched the
No,
kid
he's
in
not in
Florida.
first.
He only played like 14 games. He's very inexperienced, and he keeps trying to lower his shoulder. This is what's the NFL for? Not for long.
Richardson is
Quit lowering your shoulder.
He's always been the biggest athlete on the field, the
Yeah.
fastest. He's not in that in NBA and the NFL. He's going to get crossed. So is Jack. You heard me say already. Jackson's going to hurt like he did last year. He's going to go out. You can't keep running like he is.
He runs up the middle.
Somebody's going to get him.
He runs up the middle. He
Yeah.
doesn't.
It happened last year. He went out 3 games. He's going out 3 games again.
No, you can't.
You can't. You're running out of bounds, or you're getting.
Let me
getting
ask
hurt.
you this: is this picky, or is this a thing? He got hurt, Richardson. They went next play in. He ran the ball a cold run. What are we doing?
He was hurt and he ran it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't very smart.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Doesn't make. Don't get me wrong. You can get hurt getting off the bus,
Right.
but are we going to make our chances that much greater? It's simple enough. Now, Cleveland, it's time to cut the cord. Listen, I know you're paying them, but it's just not happening. I mean, that Raider team, without Crosby and without their best receiver, you got to beat them.
Yeah, and I'm going to go the other way, Pete. Oakland came out. They couldn't run the ball on anybody all year.
Ran right
They
through 'em.
ran the ball down Cleveland's throat. And they keep telling me Cleveland's defense is
Yeah,
great.
it's great, not good.
They're not. They're not any good.
No.
So I get rid of the quarterback, and I fire the defensive coordinator and say, we're starting over defensively. We cannot.
Because
We can't stop the run.
we think we have better talent on the
Yeah.
field. KC wins at the Chargers after being down 10-0. Was that a? Now they lost another receiver. Kansas City. They're going to be getting guys off the waiver wire.
that's where you got to give Kansas City credit. They're not winning with their offense.
That's
at all.
bad guy. Spagnuolo.
They're winning with their defense.
Yeah, I
they
agree.
they kept their defense intact.
You know, you like that big
They
guy.
played him.
Remember
He's
the
the
guy?
best.
He's
Chris Jones is the
he's
best.
ridiculous.
No, I know he is. They can't block him.
No, they can't
No,
block.
he's the best. He's
No.
nuts, but he's the best. But more importantly, as you watch the game, we just talked about it. The Chargers should have been ahead. He wouldn't kick the field goal. I have no idea why.
No, he's
It's a-
60
it's a-
years
it's a
old.
run over- it's a run over.
He's not one of
But
these.
you said somebody's in his ear telling him, "Don't
but
kick the field goal here." I don't know.
You don't
I
have
don't
to tell
understand
me
it.
twice. If I'm going to get ahead in the game, guess what I'm doing every time? Every time. Now, if I'm up 2 and I figure 5 won't be enough, that's different. But man, when I'm up where I'll be what they call ahead,
Right.
I'll take it every time.
George said this on the phone. I don't want to go past it because it's important. Midway through the second quarter, I'm watching the game. I know it's going to be first team to 17.
There are no points.
Yeah.
Now, if it's 37-34,
Then
you go
for
for it.
Yes, that's really how simple that is. Low scoring game, kick as many field goals as you can.
Yeah.
If it's going to be high scoring,
And
you
you
have to
could
score
tell.
touchdowns.
How long?
I watched it. I saw it.
You could tell by
Both teams were not moving the
midway-
ball. Not moving at all.
No,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're exactly
Yeah,
right. All right, now which guy's going first, Philly or Jacksonville?
told
You
that,
say
yeah.
Philly.
Uh-huh.
I would agree. How about playing a rookie quarterback? It's one thing to be successful; it's another to just run roughshod. What is going on?
Well, Dan, he's really good, first of all, but also he stepped into once again.
Good situation.
Perfect situation.
He didn't go to a bottom
He got
feed,
it.
even though they were bad.
They had good offensive.
Okay.
I know it from fantasy. Many of their fantasy guys are picked right off the bat. Robinson's picked quickly. McLaurin's picked quickly. They added Ertz to this, and their offensive line's good. Then you add a really good quarterback. All of a sudden, man, this is different.
How about last night? They were giving out game balls. He said, we're going to be a bunch tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But he said, we got one right now. Cliff Kingsbury.
I saw it. I looked up his email. How about how quick I did?
Yeah,
Him and Quinn.
Okay.
Because I was going to light him up.
What
You know
happened?
Oh, see, I thought you'd know about me. What light him up? You didn't see the talk they gave?
Oh, no, I can't. No, it's ridiculous.
said-
No, it was every other
You
word.
couldn't say
No, it was
the
every
game
other
ball goes.
No.
Every word.
He
was
got
the,
8
Every
times.
word was the
He
F
got 8
word,
times
And
beat
I want
down.
to say, I want to see if he had family. See, I looked up. I'm the only guy in the world looked up his email last
I
night.
would bet he
and
does.
you can't get it. I couldn't get it.
Kingsbury, I think, is a bastard. But the language was
No, it's atrocious.
It was.
If you're on national TV talking like that.
Well,
and you
they
know-
were in the locker room.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't care where you are.
No.
That's my theory. That's my
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, well,
that's me.
you're allowed to think like that. He obviously
That's
doesn't.
no.
But I did. I noticed it. Let me say that. When I say I noticed it, I thought it was ridiculous. It was over the limit.
You can't make your point Without,
It was every other. No, it was 8B. Were there 8 of those?
oh my gosh.
No, I saw the same thing. I saw exact same. 2 Monday Night Football. Is one enough?
Please give us one enough.
How about the one? Is it scrap?
One's enough.
Miami with a
But that might not
backup.
be in the best game. Might not be in the best
In
game
Tennessee.
of the league. You know, that's the way it goes in NFL.
Levis
The other
has to-
game might get 3-0.
Yeah, the other game, the over-under's in almost 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, MLB coming down. As I walked in, the Mets had won game 1.
Amazing game.
Up, down, back, forth,
Best game
over,
ever.
up.
Yeah.
Now let me ask
George
you.
knows I love baseball.
No,
It's the
they're
best
in.
sport.
Al. They're in. If they split, Arizona goes. If they win them both, or the other way, if they split, they both go. If
Yeah.
the one team wins them
Right.
both, Arizona. Is there any thought to them just taking the second game off? 'Cause
I know they're not going to be all in.
oh, that's bad.
How can they be all in?
After that
Can't be all
emotional.
in. They'll
Okay.
be celebrating in the locker room.
Okay.
I'd be interested to see who they pitch because Severino was supposed to pitch.
Yeah.
He's not pitching now. I know they moved him
I
back
see
to
the
Monday.
Braves went out and got the lefty to try to stem the tide.
They're trying, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. I don't want to
great
play
game.
Arizona. I wouldn't mind seeing Arizona out of there. I'd rather play the Brewers. I know that. Cleveland's showing was they probably surprised their biggest fan.
Every fan.
Don't you think?
Every fan.
We got some buddies that are
Every fan.
diehard Indian
Yeah,
fan, but
and,
man, oh man.
If they can somehow get any starting pitcher, they're winning because they're both.
Can they win?
Is
no.
the best in baseball.
No, Class A, here's what you do. You wave a white flag.
Yeah.
I watched that guy throw 100. Now, let me ask you. Pittsburgh went out, spent $36 million in the offseason, added Skeens, same amount of wins.
Oh, it's really simple. The players they counted on didn't come through.
Okay,
And
give me.
they thought Hayes
Hey, well, yeah.
and Davis.
He's
No,
hurt
no,
again.
They really thought these guys were ready to play.
Well, but I'm saying you can call Hayes as an injury. Davis, I don't know what you call.
But I do call it. He let them down desperately. So now they don't have a catcher. They don't have a third baseman.
Well, Hayes will get first shot.
Oh no, he's coming back to play. But I'm
Okay.
saying I'm talking. You asked me why
Why
they
they
win.
didn't do well.
Yeah.
And what
I
will
think
be
that was
next
the
year? Will
question.
they add some bats?
Like they'll have 36 million again, like they did this year. Hope they get lucky.
You could get 2 bats, 36.
But you have to get lucky though.
2 good bats,
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah, but once again,
Will they hit when they get there?
hit? Yes.
Like the
Because
dude who
De La
came in
Cruz.
from the.
No,
Oh,
he,
yeah.
he was a total waste.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And that was a great trade. Everybody in baseball said,
No, it was.
What a great
no, they were
deal.
going to get him or the guy the Yankees got.
Yeah,
No, you're right. That was a good move. They just.
it's the Pirates.
I was going to say that. I hate to
Keller,
say
the
it.
guy called in.
I
Said, how
know.
can a guy go to the All-Star 10-5,
Then that was it.
end up 11-12?
Shut off the faucet.
Yeah, you can't predict
Hey,
it.
Detroit, I remember in August, they had 1 or 0.2%.
Oh yeah, it's
Then they
amazing.
won every night for 2 months.
They really did. And going into the playoffs, we won a hot team, and they got Skubal, probably the best
You
pitcher in
said
the American
that.
League.
And
you know?
what I looked up, I had to look up what their best player made.
Yeah,
800,000.
man, not a lot. I
It's
know.
not in that league.
Uh-huh.
No, and how about these? Do we have 2 generational players in Ohtani and Judge? And if not, what would they have to do?
No, they're
to be-
generational players. I just like to see them do it
No,
long.
no,
longer.
that's fair. What
That's
would
me.
you say, 7,
That's
8
me.
years?
I always say 8 to 10 years.
8
always.
to 10? Okay.
Yeah.
Vegas in the over-unders, do they know what they're doing?
Always.
We won on Saturday by 1.5 game, and my buddy, one of your buddies, won on the Yankees the last day of the
Did
season.
the Yankees play that game yesterday?
Yes.
That game
They
finished?
ended up finished. They
Oh, I
started late.
thought you said they called it. Okay.
They started late.
Okay.
Because I put the channel on and they had
end up
Jim
playing.
Leland highlights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Hey, we got a minute left. The quarterback at UNLV didn't get his money, was promised $100,000. They gave him 3. So Tuesday he just took his gear and went home. Is this going to
more
happen?
come. More to come.
More to come?
More to come.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Your thoughts on DFAing the kid with 4 at-bats to get the bonus?
He didn't want to play himself.
Telly? No, that was yesterday. That was
yesterday.
Khalifa.
I'm talking
How about
yesterday.
Talise? Let's go back to him.
Cheesecakes. That's what I'm
Cheesecake?
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Hey, you
Yeah.
heard it here. Thanks again for watching Bottom Line Sports Talk. We'll see you next week.